so I have some questions here about this society. So tell us about this society. How was it? Yeah.
Well, we started in 1982, so we've been serving women in Victoria for 30 years. We are a charitable organization. Our budget is $1.2 million. We had over 4,000 client hours last year. Most of the people we serve are between the ages of 14 and 24. And something you should know is that people don't like to talk about sexualized violence, but 1 in 3 women will experience sexualized violence in her lifetime, 1 in 6 men, and 1 out of every 2 gay, lesbian, or transgender people will experience sexualized violence in their lifetime.
Very cool. What's the charity's job?
Our job is to provide support and advocacy for those affected by sexual assault and sexualized violence, including historic abuse. So if someone was abused as a child and now as an adult they need help, we also do that. We also help people go through the court system should they be pressing charges against someone who is a perpetrator. And we also operate a crisis line, and we meet people at the hospital and police station who have experienced assault to support them right there in the moment.
Okay. How do you help people that come into the center?
Well, my job, I have a very exciting job. I'm the fundraiser, so I raise all the money that comes into the center. And in order to do the work we do need the $1.2 million every year. We do receive 45% of our budget from the Ministry of Justice, but the remaining 55% all comes from community dollars.
Who is the important aspect? Who is the important job here in this society?
Well, our executive director has a very important job. She's the head and heart of the agency. She makes sure we're all doing what we have to do. One important piece that I forgot to mention about our work here is Project Respect is an incredibly important part of our work, because we realize that violence prevention is a huge piece of the puzzle. We can continually offer support to those affected by violence, but we have to find a way to stop the violence in the first place. So Project Respect goes out into schools, they work with youth, and they teach young people about the root causes of violence, and they also teach young people about what it means to have a respectful relationship.
That's cool.
I have a question. You say that half your money comes from the community. What type of fundraising do you do?
Well, we get grants. We do direct mail fundraising, so that's a kind of marketing where you send out mail to people's homes and ask for gifts. We do online fundraising. We have 2 big events every year. One is called Walk a Mile in Her Shoes. I don't know if you've heard of it before, but where people come down and put on high-heeled shoes, and men walk 1 mile in women's footwear, and they raise pledges to do that. So that's a very interesting thing. We also have a triathlon of compassion, so people participate in triathlon and they raise pledges to do that as well. So all kinds of ways.
How do you feel after you help people that come to the center?
I feel amazing. I love my job. I'm very passionate about my work. I see people come back to me after having been helped by our agency a few years later and say that they now want to participate in fundraising, whether that's volunteering at Walk a Mile, or sometimes they set up their own fundraising campaign, or sometimes they want to tell the world their story. And that is so validating, because I know that every dollar that I bring in is helping somebody, and then in turn for them to come back and help others, it's amazing.
Why did you volunteer in this charity?
Why? Well, I work here.
Okay, so technically not
But why do I work here? Because I passionately believe that that violence is perpetuated in our society because we allow it to be that way. And I really believe that if we educate people and we get talking about it, and we can break the shame and silence and stigma that surrounds sexualized violence, we have a hope of stopping it.
What improvement has been made in the past year?
In terms of our society, or in terms of the issue?
The whole society.
whole society. I've seen lots of changes in the past year. Never before have I seen so many people, especially young people online, talking about their stories, talking about their experiences, and rising up and saying, no, that's not okay. For example, the slut walk. I don't know if you've heard of slut walk that started in Toronto, when a police officer said that women could stop sexualized violence by not dressing like sluts. Well, that just has started a worldwide movement where everyone is coming forward and saying it doesn't matter what you wear, it doesn't matter what you look like, no one deserves to be sexually assaulted. So that's a huge, huge movement that started last year. And it's just another way of breaking the shame and silence around sexualized violence and getting people talking. And like I said before, we can't stop this if we're too scared to talk about it.
Describe your bad experience.
A bad experience?
Yeah.
In terms of something that's happened here, or?
Yeah. Happens here.
Oh, there's too many bad experiences.
Tell us one of them.
Or
Well,
if you're okay.
if you're okay.
Yeah, if you're
Comfortable.
okay.
Yeah.
If you don't want to say.
Yeah, well, it's not, I have never personally experienced sexualized violence,
Mhm.
but I come in contact with people who do, and I really want to state that experiencing a sexual assault is not just that one moment. It can affect someone long-term for their whole life. It can dramatically change their existence and how they perceive the world around them and how they walk through the world. And I think we need to stop seeing sexualized violence as one incident and see it as something that affects a whole person across the board.
What was your, like, well, not your, but like the whole society, the most challenging situation that this society have faced?
I think our most challenging situation is that sexualized violence is a chronic problem in our society, and we continually have to deal with it year after year. We continually have to look for money year after year, and we're at the beginning of stopping it, but we still have so much need. There's more
tons
need
of
than
people,
ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the more we break, so I talk about breaking the silence and the shame around it, the more we do that, the more people come forward who need our help. So it means that we're really stretched as an organization to make sure we can help people in the way that they need to be helped.
Okay. How do you measure success?
That's a big one. I measure success by my gut feeling. I know I should say by dollars and cents. I measure success of our agency by the feedback we get from our clients, saying how their lives have changed. That's the biggest measure of success. When someone comes back and says, I was using drugs and alcohol to cope, I was almost living on the street because I faced poverty, but I came to you guys and I got help, and my life has changed, and I'm working, and I can go out at night, and I'm not afraid anymore. That, to me, is the true measure of success.
Okay. Last question for me. Do you think this charity is successful?
Yes. Yeah, I think we're incredibly successful. This charity started with 2 women in their basement and a telephone. And we've grown over the years to have a staff of 18 people, passionate people who work very hard to make sure that our community has services for people who have experienced sexualized violence, because not every community does.
Okay. You guys have any questions?
What type of improvements would you like to see in the charity?
Oh, I'd like to see. Oh, I envision us in a bigger space. I would envision us with more space, classrooms, more opportunities to bring young people in. I'd like Project Respect to have more staff so we could go to more schools, because I think that working with youth is the most important, critical piece. Yeah, that's what it is, resources. If we had more resources to do our work, it would be amazing.
So do you think for the resources you have, your charity's working to the best of its abilities?
Yes, I absolutely do. We are so careful with our money, so careful with our money.
Okay.
Any questions? Okay. Thank you very much for your awesome interview today. I don't know. I'll have a great day.
Thank you so much
Thank you
for
for your
coming.
time.
Yeah, thank you for your time.